choice. Like, what is choice for you? If choice is your reality, what would you choose in regards to money? If choice is your reality, what would you choose in regards to business? Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast, where you get to choose, change and take action to create a different today and a different future. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Choice, Change and Action podcast. So you're with me, Solo Simone Milasas, your host, and welcome. So I'm in Los Angeles. I just recorded a podcast with John Wheeler that you'll get to listen to next week. And I was talking about arriving here last night, and I think I want to mention it again in a different way. This podcast I'm doing today is about choice. And I have just spent 39 nights at El Hogar in Costa Rica. And El Hogar, if you haven't seen it, please subscribe to the notes and check out the Instagram and the website, etc. Check out, follow us on Instagram, because there's so many beautiful animals and nature and shots there. And it's just the epitome of happiness and joy for me, and actually a sense of peace. I'm not so sure I've ever had that much peace in my world, in my reality, and in my body. Just so friggin' beautiful. Waking up every morning to howler monkeys, which, if you don't know what howler monkeys are like, they're really little, but they sound like they're massive gorilla, and they do this real guttural growl, and they usually start at like 4:30 or 5 a.m. Sometimes they're close, sometimes they're not. They live in the trees and they follow the river. And waking up to that, and then birds and just weather, waking up with nature is just an incredible experience, incredible time for myself and my body. Like, my body feels really good. And so I'm going to mention different things about choice as well, because last night I arrived in LA and I was super tired. Arrived at LA, staying at Ritz-Carlton in Marina Del Rey. And, there's people around, there's traffic around, there's car noises, there's all of that, which you don't really get at El Hogar. And immediately I sort of was like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? I was breaking my trip up to Australia, so it didn't take me, 50 billion years on flights nonstop. And so I'm flying to Australia tonight, and I could perceive myself getting really uncomfortable and almost getting anxious. And so I went, okay, Simone, you need to calm down. Literally, I said that to myself and was like, okay, what next? And one of the tools of access consciousness is choosing in 10-second increments. Choosing, choosing, choosing. So I went, okay, what's up in my world? I went, I need to have a shower. I'd been up since like 2 a.m. that morning to get to the airport in San Jose, etc. So I had a shower and was like, okay, that's better. And I was like, okay, I need to order some food. So I ordered some food. And then there was a lot of people, love the people I work with, but people like, hey, have you looked at this? Hey, could you do this? Hey, could you answer this? And I was like, you know what would I like to choose right now? And I knew that I wasn't being incredibly creative last night, and I may have been like quick or snappy or something like that if I responded to anything. So I just had a shower, ordered some food, and watched Netflix. I actually, shut my curtains and was asleep by 5 p.m. I think I slept for 12 hours. So how does it get any better than that? But the thing is, I chose, and I kept choosing in 10-second increments, and I was choosing what actually works for me. And my new slogan for myself is choice is my reality. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. If you are in my Telegram thread, I am putting a screensaver of El Hogar with some horses that says choice is my reality. It's in Portuguese, Spanish, and English at the moment. If there's a request for other languages, I can make that happen as well. So, and if you want to go to my Telegram thread, it's simonemelasas.com/Telegram. And of course, in the show notes, we will put that there too. So, one of the classes I facilitate is Choice for Possibilities, which I have one coming up in Phrygian Beach in Queensland. I think it'll be next week. It starts on the 25th of October. That's Australia time. So 25th to the 27th. So in the US, of course, it starts on the 24th. So you can come live or online. Foundation is the prerequisite, though, just so you're aware of that. And I have now been facilitating Choice for Possibilities classes for quite a few years. Choice. Like, what is choice for you? What is choice for you? And if you look at that, it's like, how do you choose? Do you choose mostly from, trying to get it right or wrong? I know that sounds weird, but a lot of people just have decided that they're wrong, that they're fucked up, that they're bad, all of that. So they will choose something to match that so that they can live in that constant state of judgment, and, have the reasons and justifications for choosing a life that is lesser than, rather than choosing to live, like truly, truly live and create a different possibility. So I realized that one of the things I do a lot is control, right? And you would have heard me talk about it, and, control freak of magnitude. And a lot of you do control. Now, my question to you is, what is your basis for control? Right? So when I'm asking what is your basis for control, by the way, we have a new clearing statement. We added something to the clearing statement in Access Consciousness. So I'll let you know about that. So you have like you choose things based on something, right? So that's the basis, and it's the plural form of bases. So a basis is the structure that you use to have a right life, and the structure by which you weigh and measure the lose or win of all situations. Okay. So it's like, what does it cost you to get something? It seems to play a crucial role when determining our gains or our losses, right? So, and basis is everything that you do and you don't do. So, if I ask you a question about how many bases do you have for choosing, and even notice, like, when I ask you that question, it's like, what shows up in your world? Is there people? Is it family? Is it your partner? Is it your kids? Is it money? Is it business? Is it your culture? Is it your religion? So how many bases do you have for choosing? So it's like this check-in. You're sort of like, oh, before I choose, I've got to like look at all of this. So everything at that is times a Godzilla, we destroy and uncreate it. Here we go. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine shorts, boys, povads, bases, and beyond. Okay. And forgive me, I may forget it every now and then. I may not. Who knows? Okay. So then if you look at how many bases do you have for the amount of money you would allow in your life? Just let that sit there for a second. As I ask you the question again, how many bases do you have for the amount of money you would allow in your life? How many of you are not willing to earn more money than anyone else in your family? Or maybe you grew up in Latin America, and I cannot tell you the amount of countries that I go to in Latin America, Mexico, Colombia, to name a few, have this point of view that if you have a lot of money, how'd you get the money? It's like, is it corrupt? Okay. So if you have that point of view that you're not willing to have copious, ridiculous amounts of money, join the billionaires club, millionaires club. It's like, and you have that basis for the amount of money that you'd like to have, then you will literally refuse to receive anywhere that there is easy money, anywhere that more money can show up. So you will spend your entire life resisting, avoiding, like defending, proving all of your judgments about what it is to have money as right, true, and correct. Let's go back to choice is your reality. If choice is your reality, what would you choose in regards to money? If choice is your reality, what would you choose in regards to business? Profit is how much living you can create when you are willing to create a bigger life. Please join my latest and very low cost membership with me, Simone Milasas, at the Profit Club. SimoneMilasas.com/Profit Club. Now, as I mentioned, the control thing. So we just did this 6-day, which was phenomenal with Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and Dr. Dane Heer, the co-creator, and it was just absolutely amazing. And for me, one of the things I realized was how much, like I said, that I do control. Okay. So then what is my basis for the need of control? So if this is you as well, ask yourself, what is your basis for need of control? Now, control is where you try to change something and push it into existence, right? So it could have been maybe you grew up in an abusive family, maybe, everyone around you wasn't as smart as you. So then you start to control things so that you can have something different show up and something greater show up. So one of the things I realized though was the amount of times I do control and it doesn't allow for something greater to show up. I'm still like changing a lot with this. And let me give you an example. Horse riding. Okay. So I've been horse riding for quite some time. Many, many years ago, I had an accident on a horse going at a dead run, following a friend of mine going at a dead run. And I, I'm going to say I knew how to ride, but not really. And I didn't know how to take control in the right situation, as in, like, I would try and control everything around me in my family or business or friends, except on a horse, somebody's got to have the lead. Okay. So, and if you've got the lead, it's like you're leading the horse and you're controlling the horse not to go at a dead run when you're not desirous of it, not to, do whatever. So anyway, horse went in a dead run. I did not have control of the horse at all, but I was just like, okay, And by the time we got to the end of this field, the horse stopped really suddenly, and I guess it was so long ago in my, I was in my head, I was like, oh my God, you got to stop, you got to stop. So the horse stopped really suddenly, and my body and I were not ready for that, and just flung us off into this river with all these big rocks. So I landed on the rocks, and my left butt cheek still has nerve endings that I can't feel, and it was a pretty big accident. Now, just before that, I was running. I'm going to say out of control, and not out of control in a good way, and jumping over logs and doing many different things. Okay, so after that accident, something changed with me, and I had this basis of control of riding a horse. So I kept asking as I was writing, what is my basis for writing? And for a long time it was like, well, I'm going to fall off. Something's going to happen. So if you have that point of view that something's going to happen, that there's a right or a wrong, etc., that is what you will create rather than just choosing. So 39 days, nights in Elugar has changed my world with horse riding, absolutely, for sure. I have a beautiful horse there, Pluma. And um, I asked her every day, "Can you show me more of me?" Right? And she's a beautiful horse, and she's a really present horse. She's very kind and she's really present, and she knows how to run, and she knows how to listen to you. And that's what I discovered. Like, they had retrained her a little bit, and when I got there, they said, "Hey, we want to retrain you." Because it's just about using your body. You're using your thighs just slightly in the way you move your body, and she moves. And also, so with your head. If I think at her, let's go, she goes. If I think stop, she stops. Right? These animals are amazing, and the way they train them in Costa Rica is phenomenal. She's actually three quarters quarter horse and Costa Ricense, but she's so friggin' smart. She's amazing. So, but I was using my past experiences with horse riding to validate my judgments and validate my basis, right? The basis of horse riding. Well, something's going to happen. I'm not a good horse rider. Just realized that. That was my basis, is I'm not a good horse rider. Okay. So riding, when I'm there, and a lot of people that, some of the cowboys and people who are really good riders are like, Simone, you actually know how to ride. Okay. You know how to ride. And I really had to change my basis and change my point of view and go, okay, I actually do know how to ride a horse. Okay. So then one day, because we have these different groups, and, they say the advanced group, it goes, they go, if you can't run, if you don't want to run, don't go in that. So you got advanced, intermediate, and beginners. I'm really happy walking on my horse as well, but I also realized that what I would do is I would choose to go in the group that I could control, that I could not have anything greater. I mean, it was always greater every ride. Every time I even touch my horse, I have, an amazing time sort of thing, no matter what that is. And yet I was not really choosing to step up. And so when this all came out, and Cody Law, who's amazing, cowboy from Texas, he was like, Simone, what are you doing? He's like, you should have been riding with the advanced riders for the last 3 years. And I had all these justifications that I didn't want to do it. So then I went, okay, let's go. So the next day, and one of the cowboys in Costa Rica, Alexis, he was like, hey, Simone, we're going to this reserve. It's so friggin' beautiful. You got to come. Right. And again, he was like, why aren't you riding with us? So I went, all right. I woke up. Um, I just had this sense like I was going to throw up. Like there was so much control just being dissipated and actually just choosing. Again, choice is my reality. So instead of going, what's right, what's wrong, what's going to happen, da da da, how many of you do that? You make a choice and you try and figure it out so much. I went, I'm just going in the advanced riders. And I was choosing, and I was asking my body and choosing me. And it wasn't from this rightness or wrongness. It was just from, this is a choice. I can have this as a choice. I mean, even when I got on my horse, I could change the choice. So we went off, and it was so amazing. It was so awesome. I had the best ride ever so far. It was so much fun, and we went, like, right up hills, and then, like, I mean, Alexis, the cowboy, was helping me. Like, well, he wasn't helping me, he had his eye on me, like, he was making sure I was okay, which I'm so grateful for all of the cowboys and all the horse riders that we ride with that do that too. And going down this, like, super steep hill, and it's just like, you're like, "Yes, this is it," right? So, fantastic ride. The next day, I go again, and somewhere I let doubt come into my world, which I've discovered that when I go to doubt, that's a way I can control, right? So I started to doubt, and we were going down another section and going down a really super, steep hill. Well, actually, the first one we went up a hill, and a friend of mine said to me, "Hey, if you don't want to go up this side, we can go around the side." And I looked at it and I was like, choice is my reality." I went, "My horse has got this. She's so friggin' strong. She's good." And I was like, and I checked in. I was like, "I'm good." And I went, "No, let's go." And so just went up this super steep part and galloped up the top. I've got Alison Cox, who's amazing. Just did a Conscious Horse, Conscious Rider class with her and Cody and Sarah. And they have another one in February. I'll put the link in the show notes. And she's riding, like, next to me on the left, like galloping up the hill. And she's just like, "Woo, you did it." And it was awesome. Okay. So then we're coming down, and doubt comes in, which I've realized I use doubt to control. And so I looked at one of the cowboys and sort of gave him this look like, "Hey, can you get in front of me so that my horse can follow you down the hill?" So and there was, I went, "What am I doing this for?" To control. How many of you, I hopefully these stories are helping you in your life, and you can use it with anything. How much do you not choose because you're so caught up in control, you're caught up in right and wrong, which is the basis of how, as I said before, you weigh and measure the lose or win of all situations. So I'm going down this hill, and I'm already trying to freak myself out so I can control it. And I've already decided that there's going to be a loss here or something like this. And this is all happening really quickly. And in this instantaneous second, the cowboy's horse just does this huge, like, his horse leans up, does this back kick right into my horse's chest. Obviously didn't want us right there. And so I was like, right, okay, and just pulled her away. And then we went down the hill on our own. Okay. I could have done that. I chose to doubt myself so that I could control a situation and not have a different possibility show up. And like I said before, one of the things I've realized is when I choose control, I am not choosing communion. And I'm not choosing communion with my horse, with my body, because my body and my horse and me, we had this. What's the worst case scenario? You fall off. Okay, you fall off. You get back on. It's not making that relevant. But how many of you have been trying to play this sort of like safety game with your choices instead of just choosing. So, how many bases have you created to choose? And everything at that is times a godzillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot all nine shorts, boys, provids and beyonds. Look, there's something else that showed up when I was in Costa Rica as well that really changed, I think, the trajectory of my life. It created this demand in my world for something different and something greater. I made a video about this and I put it out on my social media because we went whitewater rafting and uh, whitewater rafting in grade 2 and 3, and it was great. It was awesome. You like, you got these little breaks. And you're like, oh, look, there's a bird, there's an iguana, and you're having this moment, and it was really great, and it was awesome. I've done that one before. And then there was 2 boats, so I think there was 10 of us that went out and we decided to do grade 4. And we'd all done whitewater rafting except for one of us. So anyway, so grade 4 is a lot different, okay? And it's on the San Miguel River in Costa Rica. If you ever get the chance to go, it was brilliant. Actually, we'll put the link to the company that we went with because they're so good. If you go into El Lugar, they book you through that anyway. So anyway, so we're on this raft and we split up into 2 groups, and it's literally the first white water. Okay, I swear to God, our rafting guide must have been like, "Oh Jesus Christ, what have I got myself into with these guys?" And they said to me before, they said, "You never know what you're going to get until you actually start paddling, right?" Because they said some people freak out and don't paddle, so they're trained that they've got to get through this on their own. Okay, so anyway, so there's 5 of us on our boat, and the first white water, my friend Hugo is sitting in front of me, and he's a big guy, and he starts to fall off in this white water, and I don't know, my instinct was to try and grab him. He's a big guy. Next thing, he's off, I'm off the boat. So you're just going dumped into this white water. Now, grade 4, okay, it's pretty big. But all of a sudden, I'm like, I don't know if you've ever been swimming in a beach and you're getting dumped by a wave. That's happened to me plenty of times living in Australia. So when you get dumped, you maybe get swirled around and you just water everywhere, obviously, and it's white water, okay? And but you get to the top eventually. So you sort of have this like, okay, just, don't breathe in water, blah, 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 but you're going to get to the top. So in my head, I was going, okay, I can't breathe yet, but I know I'm going to get to the top. And then all of a sudden, I could feel where I was, but I wasn't moving anymore. And there was just white water all around me. And I couldn't breathe because I was underwater. So I actually took in a bunch of water and I realized that there was a rock, my body, and the boat was stuck on the rock and stuck on me. So I couldn't, I was jammed in there. And no one knew where I was instantaneously. And we have like a safety kayak guy, and he could see from a distance what had happened. And Cody, one of the guys that was on our boat, he said he thought, oh, we're stuck on a rock. And then he realized, oh, we're not stuck on a rock, we're stuck on Simone. And the kayak guy yelled out to the rafting guy, no, this is all white water. Okay, grade 4. Let me reiterate that again. And so he realized what had happened. So he jumped off the boat, like shimmied the boat. So as soon as you shimmy it, right, you can't just sort of stop and go, okay, is everyone okay? Because there's grade 4 white water. So as soon as he did that, he had to jump back on and the boat goes. And then I went off and then straight into white water again. Somehow I grabbed hold of this rock because there's lots of rocks, and I jacked myself up with one foot and my back on this another rock, and just coughed up all this water, and was actually burping and coughing at the same time, I think, all this water. And in my head, I was like, okay, I need to, navigate this and sort of look at the situation and see what's happening. Oh, when I was under the boat too, when I realized I was jammed under there, um, I was trying to lift the boat up, like just to get some sort of air. I let go of my oar by that stage because I was like, and I knew that I could not breathe for quite a few minutes, like I would be okay, but I was also knew that I was in white water and what was going to happen after here, right? But in my world, in my reality, and this is choice is my reality, I went, this is not happening. I am not dying. I am not drowning in San Miguel River in Costa Rica. because I've been jammed in between a rock and a boat. And my foot actually got stuck on one of the rocks a little bit too. And I was like, I've got to get I knew I had to get my foot out of there. So I got my foot out of there. And then I think it was all just like, dum, dum, dum. And the magic of your body is incredible. And the one thing I realized was I trusted my body so much at that moment. It was like, show me what to do, show me what to do. Right. So then when we shimmied ourselves up on this rock, later on, the rafting instructor said to me, um, he said, I looked back and he said, you were like a mermaid, just like perched up on top of the rocks. But by this stage, they'd gone quite down the river, and the kayak guy, of course, has gone down the river too. And I knew I have to look at this safety kayak guy to navigate how the hell I get out of here. And he yelled out to me and he was like, hey, swim. Like, and they teach you that if you fall off to put your body so that it's your head is going upstream so that if you're going to hit rocks, your feet are going to hit rocks and it's not your head. I mean, I've got a helmet on too. But to swim, obviously you can't do that. You have to swim, right? And use your strokes. And I'm a good swimmer. But again, you're on whitewater grade 4. So he's like, swim. And he's like, and he said, you were right in the middle. And he said, he was like, swim to the left, swim to the left. So I was trying to swim as hard as I could. He was sort of trying to head towards me as well. And then you're just getting dumped and dumped again and then smashing into rocks. Like I actually only ended up with um really bruised left shin and knee and a little bit of bruising on my right shin. That's the only bruises that I had, which was amazing. And then out of the corner of my eye, I can see our rafting instructor has got they have this like bag that they throw out to you that has a rope in it. And I was like, I have to get that. I know I have to get that. And I know I'm good at stuff like this. So as soon as he threw it, I was like, I've got to get this, or I'm just going to keep getting washed down everywhere. So I grabbed it. And then I have to pull myself into the boat. Again, there's not this moment that everyone's like, hey, is everyone okay? Andrew Gardello, another friend of mine, was talking to me, and I could see that he was like checking in on me, but I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear, and I couldn't breathe that well either. I was breathing sort of just enough. And I was like, I can't hear you. And I saw him, he pointed, and I went, okay. And I thought, I'm going to head for that. So I just pulled myself in and headed for that moment. And then we all jumped in the boat, and then we're in the middle of a white water, grade 4. So then we just had to go again. So it was a little bit of time before, it was like, hey, you okay? And Hugo, then they got Hugo in. So I did have a little bit of breathing space for that, which was good. But the energy in my body and the exuberance in my body and my being after that event, I was like, fuck yes. I am choosing everything and anything that's possible. I will choose more joy. I will choose more happy. I will choose more, more, more. And if choice is my reality and I'm not right and I'm not wrong, then what am I going to choose? So it just gave me this like super desire to have more, to always have more. And that's a question you can ask yourself too. What do you desire? What do you desire? And as you're choosing something, ask, does this fulfill what I desire? Because when you ask what you desire, there's stuff that you cognitively know what you desire, and then stuff that you it's not cognitive, it's energetic. Okay. So your body and your being both have desires. So what do you desire? Okay. And if you trust yourself to ask a question and trust yourself to choose, like one of the things I got to as well is realizing that, that control stuff. I mean, I couldn't frigging control when I'm jammed underneath the boat, right? You can't really control when you're horse riding either. I mean, obviously control your horse, that's a different control. There's a control to create a greater possibility, to create greatness. Let's say it like that. And to create greatness when you're riding is to lead, because your horse is looking for you to lead. It's like, where do you want to go? Like if you get on a horse and you're not asking the horse to do anything, then it starts going, what the fuck? Like it's like might run or it might freak out or something. Horse riding, it's such a partnership that you have with your horse. Same as with your body. Okay. So do you have this partnership with your body, with your business, with your money, with anything that you're being in question and allowing a different choice to show up, allowing greatness to show up is what I'm asking for. Absolutely. But one of the things I realized, and this may be for you, is Dane actually has he did a he's got this series called You Got This. We'll put the link to it. There's some amazing calls in there, and he's just hopefully it'll be released. It's on basis, right? And one of the things he was talking about is when you're doing control, you're not bad. You're not a bad person. And do you know how many years every time someone, nudged me or poked me or hassled me about being controlling, I would go, I'm a bad person, I'm a bad person. And it's like, no, you're not a bad person. You're actually not a bad person. You're not right. And you're definitely not wrong. Okay. You need to make a choice. And it's like for me, doing control I thought it was going to get me a greater result than choosing. What I'm realizing is that's not true. It's not true. And another tool that I've been using at the moment too is if you are uncomfortable, what if that is the beginning of greatness showing up? Like, how many times when you're uncomfortable, you have this discomfort in your world, then you start to try and control the situation so that you can get the result that you think will work, that you think will be better. And what if discomfort is the beginning of chaos? Like, and what if chaos is the beginning of you choosing greatness? What if chaos is the beginning of you having everything that you've ever desired, and even more than that? Because in truth, we only know, like, we ask for what we think we need rather than, like, we know what we've been and done before. But if you keep choosing greatness every day and asking for that, and choosing not from right or wrong, then have a look at your life and where is it in 10 years' time? And what I'm going to ask is that what if you ask for where your life is in 10 years' time with money, with business, with your body, with sex, with relationships, with everything? What if you ask for that to show up today? What else is possible today that you have not been willing to ask for or receive? Because a lot of this is about receiving. So, would you be willing to receive more today? And everything it doesn't allow you to receive more today could be your judgments, your limitations, your control, your right, your wrong, all of that, your what you've decided you need. Everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poveds, basis, and beyond. So, what if choice is your reality? What would you choose? And just start practicing, have way too much fun with it. So this is me signing out. I'm going to go have a drink with a friend before I leave LA and fly to Australia. And thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being you. Please subscribe, write a review, do all that stuff. I'm really super grateful that you're here, and I'm really super grateful for all of the feedback that I do get. There's a lot of people who thank me for the podcast, so you're welcome. Con gusto. Learning Spanish and Italian at the same time now. That's chaos, ladies and gentlemen. That's chaos. But choice is my reality, and that's what I'm choosing. What are you choosing today that's so different that you didn't think that you could choose and that you could be? Okay, thanks so much. I will see you next time. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform to get notified of new episodes. We read all the reviews, so if there's any topic you would like to hear about, let us know. If you'd like to know more about the tools, information, and classes mentioned in the podcast, head on over to SimoneMilasas.com and follow me on Instagram at Simone Milasas, or the podcast has its very own link on Instagram at Choice, Change, and Action. Don't forget, you can download the show notes. And lastly, have way too much fun today.